Welcome to Prayer Beyond Words, walking on water towards Jesus. Now, what we're going to be thinking about today, if you think how Peter felt when he first got out of the boat, he actually did start walking on the water towards Jesus. And at times in our lives, when we feel that we're being obedient to a calling of Jesus or the Lord in some way, we set off. And when we first set off, it seems as if there's no problems, there are no difficulties. And it's that little bit right at the very beginning that I'm wanting to think about today, thinking about walking on water. Those first few steps of obedience when we've got out of one boat and we're walking along in obedience. What we're going to do is that the bottom half of the paper will represent the water, the sea as it were, and the top will represent that bit, that wonderful little bit of the journey. Now that might be a bit of the journey that you're about to go on, and that's what I hope maybe will be true, that you're being asked to get out of a boat, and that's going to be that first little bit of obedient walking on water. But also it's good to look back at the times in your life when it's been like that, when it feels as though you are doing the right thing and you're walking on the water. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make good solid lines across the middle for the space between the water and the air above. So I should take your wax across there a number of times. So you can see I'm not making it actually a straight line. Probably couldn't draw one if I tried, but I wanted it is up and downy even when it's going really well. So that's what I'm trying to represent in that line. So then we're going to look at what might be underneath the water. And I've got my oil pastels, so if you've got some of those you might like to use them. I've got the wax crayons, I've got the pastels, and then I've also got the inks, which are ready laid out with a squirt of water and a squirt of ink, so that they're about half strength. And what we're going to do is, in the usual way with the prayer painting, on this bottom bit, with your eyes shut, make marks representing what might be under the water. What threats and difficulties are you walking over when you're walking on the water? So I'm going to use quite dark colours for that, but you may not want to use dark colours at all. It's entirely up to you what you use. And I think this is one of the prayer paintings when it's a good idea to have your eyes shut and use your non-preferred hand, like you did in the early ones, slightly differently from the one that we did yesterday. So you might want to, with your hand, just work out roughly where that line of wax was and put your fist on it so that you know that you're working on this side down here. And then make marks for the difficulties and threats that are underneath the water with your eyes shut and your non-preferred hand. And I feel there might be more than one sort, so I'm going to put other colours on as well. Again with my non-preferred hands and my eyes shut. And with a wax crayon. And also with the ones that I might not have even dreamed of, so they're going to be in the plain wax. So I can't see what they are. Again, non-preferred hand and squiggles on the paper. next thing we're going to do is to make marks on the top half. So I should draw the paper towards you so that you can work well over the ones that you've already got. And these are for what it feels like to walk with God when things are going well, or what you hope it's going to be like, or what it was like. If you look back at times when there've been these bits of walking on water, and think how it might have felt. I might do a little bit of felt tip here, not felt tip, pastel, and just again, non-preferred hand. And so you can put your hand on where that wax mark was on there as well. Actually, that's probably quite a good idea. And again, it might feel like, the colours it might feel like to you. And then some unexpected feelings we'll put in with the wax crayon, wax candle I mean. So now we've got two halves of our paper. The bottom half, the sort of threats that are under the water that you're walking over the top of, and the walking on the water at the top. Now we're going to wet the back in the usual way. Making sure it's really wet. Oh, messy fingers. And then wet the top half. I suggest you do the top half first, since it's the one that's furthest away from you. And wet the bottom half. Now, next thing I'm going to do is to take the colours for the walking on the water. So I'm moving it towards me so that I can work on that top end. And I'm going to take the colours that represent for me that walking on the water. And again, I'm going to put my fist here so I know exactly where the middle bit is. It's there, and I'm going to, with my eyes shut, just put some drops of the colour. And I think I'm just going to use these two colours. Again, with eyes shut and non-preferred hand. Doesn't matter if you go into the bottom bit, because you might do by mistake. I might just add very gentle drops. Again with my eyes shut, non-preferred hand, not squeezing too hard on my. So that's the walking on water. That's the top part. And now I want to do the bottom half, which is what's under the water. What are the threats that you're walking successfully over the top of? And here I'm going to put in blue. I seem to be a bit of a traditionalist over this, but I'm going to put in blue because it somehow expresses the depths. And I'm not actually going to shut my eyes, I'm going to do it with my right hand, but still fairly randomly. I'm not going to think too much about it, but I don't want these colours going into the top half. So I'm doing it, I'm watching what I'm doing. And then I'm going to I seem to have wet that bit. I have to do it with a spritzer. And the final colour. It's very easy to miss bits off. Probably should have gone over it again just before I put the colours on. So I've used blue, black and red. So I'm just going to use a spritzer to wet that bit that I've missed. There's a little section I've missed there. And I'm going to use salt on the top half, not the bottom half. But obviously you don't have to. It's up to you. Oops. I want to put salt on the top. Sorry about the noise of the packet, actually. It seems to pick up rather thoroughly. I wanted this to express the truth again. I always think of, you are salt and light. That's something to do with the truth, so I'm putting it on here. And then, as usual, sit and look at it. Give praise for the times when you've been able to walk over the top, and prayer to ask that you will be able to walk on the top, over the top when you're walking in obedience in the future. And ask the Lord what it is that you might be walking towards. What boat are you leaving? What are you walking towards? Obviously, Peter was walking towards Jesus, and in the same sense, we would be walking towards him too. But there may be a purpose as well as it being an obedience. As usual, when it's finished and it's dried, have another look at it, turn it round and have a look at it and see if you can see things which are different when you turn it round. Look at it when it's dry, and again, when you come to the end of the retreat, have another look and see what it is that you can see in it. And you might like to write something about it